Hi, Joe Soto here again, and I'm here to talk about 5 proven strategies to land local clients. So I'm going to give you the top 5 ways for you to find clients so you never have to worry about having enough to get you to whatever income you want to get to. It's just a matter of more effort or finding people who can actually execute on some of these 5 things on your behalf. Or Ty is great at delegating and putting together a good team. And if you are too, you're going to find that these are golden for you. There is, probably no more important skill than the ability to sell your services. If you can be great at social media, you can be great at Facebook advertising, you can be great at Instagram marketing and Pinterest for local businesses, and I encourage you to learn all of it because you can use everything that social media has to offer. You can use it all to make your agency thrive. But if you can't sell your services, it's not going to matter. It's no different than what I tell a new restaurant owner or a new local store owner. I just received a text a few minutes ago from one of the people that's in my referral network, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, about a new small golf store, a retail shop. If you can't, you can have the best retail golf shop in the world. If you can have the best restaurant, the best food, and the best service, if you don't know how to market or make that known, it won't matter. And it's the same for you as an agency owner. So I think one of the most important skills I wish somebody had taught me when I started my agency was, how do I get clients? I don't want to have to cold call, and you probably don't want to have to cold call either. Do I have to call up people cold? It doesn't mean you won't send out cold emails once in a while, but I'm going to show you how to do it strategically. It doesn't mean you won't have to introduce yourself to people that you've never introduced yourself to before. But if you follow one of these 5 methods, you're going to find getting clients to be really easy. In fact, I'm going to start off with my favorite. And if you take anything from this entire course on how to get clients, this number 1 way is probably the most surefire way. It's how I get most of my clients. And that's from creating your own local, I call it creating your own local business alliance. So that's number 1, is you're going to create a local business alliance. Some people call this your own networking group. People behave differently though inside of the group when they feel like it's a business alliance where you're all helping each other. You're all contributing to each other's business and you're all making money together. And so what I did, I'm just taking an example. I mentioned that over the last 12 months I've been focused on restaurants. Quite honestly, since about a year this time, I invested into a restaurant of my own, took an interest in the industry. That's where this passion for the restaurants came from. And I wanted to find out, everything I could about restaurants so that way I could at least talk the game with other restaurant owners. And so I learned about food costs and labor costs and some of the numbers behind what made a restaurant grow. And I started learning about restaurant marketing and things like this. I wanted to start learning about what problems restaurant owners experience. What are they facing day to day? What's the life of a restaurateur really like? Well, it's not that pretty. I mean, it's not that glamorous. And like all business owners and entrepreneurs, they get into something, they don't realize how much work it takes or how much time it takes out of their life. So, when you're looking at how to approach these business owners, you know all these things, but you need somebody to introduce you to them. I'll tell you what they get a lot of calls about. I'll tell you what every business owner, particularly local business owners, I don't care if it's a pet store or a retail store or a local drugstore, or if it's your local restaurant and bar, your local nightclub, your local weight loss clinic, your local whatever, dog store, right? They're all getting phone calls from social media agencies almost on a daily basis. They're getting solicited weekly, if not daily, by people just like you who are telling them that you could help grow their business. And they're running from them. They tune you out. They don't take the calls. And so you need an in. And so what I did, and this is the secret, is I went and found people that sold services already and already had clients that were restaurants. So for example, I found I just dropped my mic here. Sorry.
We're going to jump to white here, editors. Boom, you're back in business.
All right. Okay. So what I found was I went and found a person that sold payroll services to restaurants, who happened to also work for a company that sold payment processing to restaurants. Now, he also sold and sells payment processing and payroll to non-restaurant clients. But I'm targeting restaurants, so that was going to be my focus. Now, I then went and found somebody who sells POS systems and represented a company that sold a very popular POS system for restaurants. Now, those POS systems can cost up to $20,000 a terminal just to have set up inside your restaurant. And some restaurants have multiple. And so I know that's expensive. I know that when people decide on a POS system for the restaurant, that rep for that product and service is somebody they hang on to for a long time. So they already have a relationship bridged with that client. Somebody who's selling payroll to a client also tends to be somebody who isn't going away. Payment processing, that's a little tougher because that's a hyper-competitive industry. People jump in and out of those sales careers all the time. But I found somebody who's been with the same payroll processing company for 7 years. How do you find that out ahead of time? LinkedIn. Go onto LinkedIn and find somebody who has a job title or in their description somewhere where it says offering payroll services or offering payment processing, or maybe some of the buzzwords for the systems or POS systems that your niche tends to purchase. So for example, for restaurants, I know that Aloha is the name of a popular software program of a POS system that's sold through NCR. So if I can find a rep that reps NCR and sells POS systems, I know that their primary target is restaurants for that type of system. And I can find them on LinkedIn. LinkedIn lets you do an advanced search for keywords inside of someone's profile. And you can also do it based on territory and area. Then I found somebody who also specializes in selling insurance to restaurants. How did I find that person? From the person who sold payroll and processing. He said, let me introduce you to one of my buddies who refers clients to me sometimes, who sells insurance primarily to restaurants and can save them money on insurance. I said, good, because they're going to need to save them enough money to then pay for and offset my services, which are going to cost them money. And so I found this small little network. I also found somebody who sells wine to restaurants, for example. So they're a distributor who's the middleman to sell wine for any restaurant that has a beverage program like a bar. And so I have this small little nucleus, little group of people. It's now about 5 people large, not very big, about 5 people over the last year that I've cultivated and built relationships with, meaning I do coffee with them, sometimes together, sometimes apart. I do beer together, like I will go out for a few beers on a Friday night just to kind of recap the week once in a while. Not every week, once in a while. Sometimes with 2 or 3 of them, sometimes with all of them. And we create this little networking group, which really is a local business alliance. And then I tell them, if they refer a client to me who pays me a retainer of $1,500 and above, I'll pay them a 10% commission every month that client remains a client. Why would I do that? Because first of all, if I were to hire a salesperson, they'd probably cost me more in commission to do that. But now I have a group of 5 people who are like a built-in sales force, who are always on the lookout, always having their ear to the ground about businesses that need social media, and more importantly, they have a client list of people who they know could benefit from my services. In fact, just recently, I went to a small local bar in my area, and I had a beer with these guys, and one's a girl, but only the guys were there that night. And one of them, and he literally pulls out 4 pages of restaurants that are his clients. And he said, I think I'm just going to give you my entire list and let you pick and choose from which ones you think you could help the most. And I said, this is an overwhelming list. And I said, I'll go on, I'll pick the top 10 based on looking at their social media presence, which ones look like they're in desperate need of my help. And then I'll email you. He says, yeah, just email me and I'll get you hooked up for an appointment, or I'll just call and set the appointment for you. I've only had to call a business owner, this sounds crazy, probably 5 times cold from a referral from one of these guys in the past year. Almost always they're setting up the appointment for me. And in fact, while we were sitting there was a gentleman who owned 2 different Italian restaurants in 2 different cities in Northern Virginia. And he called them while we're sitting in the bar and said, I'm with this guy Joe now, who can help you with restaurant marketing. I told you about him, and you really need to meet him, like I said. Are you available next Thursday at 1? And he set the appointment sitting right next to me for me. Because it's already a client that trusts him. It's already a client that he's comfortable with, so it's not a cold call for him. And we signed up that client and their 2 restaurants. And so, because you're already going in with your foot in the door and you already have rapport and trust. And they tend to tell you that. Almost all of these clients will tell you when you meet them. They'll tell you, you're here because I trust you, because I trust, Tom. And if Tom didn't say you were good, you wouldn't even be sitting here. They almost use it like a weapon. Like, you're lucky to be here because I have a relationship with so-and-so, so I'm going to hear you out, and then they warm up to you, particularly if you can build some rapport with them. So this local business alliance, I'm spending the most time on because it's the most important thing you can do to grow your practice. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 niches that your agency is focusing on, which I don't recommend, I recommend starting with 1, becoming an expert in that niche, getting a few of those clients before you move on to another one. I made the mistake back in 2009 and 2010 of basically just taking any client that would pay me money. And it was very difficult to help all those clients because I didn't know everything about all those businesses and industries, at least enough to be able to talk the language. I took on auto dealerships. I had lots of car dealerships. Man, we had a lot of dealerships. We had restaurants, some that we did a terrible job for. Back in 2009, 2010, we were still figuring this whole thing out. Facebook advertising wasn't even launched yet. We had pharmacies. We had speakers and authors. We had home security systems. We had all kinds of businesses. And that wasn't the way to go. I luckily started niching and focusing my attention on speakers and authors back then. And I was very fortunate to be able to help people like Jeffrey Gitomer and Harvey McKay and Sally Hogshead and the Og Mandino Group. And Tom Hopkins wrote the How to Master the Art of Selling. You've heard of some of these people probably. We started a niche focus in helping speakers and authors. And that became a niche for a couple of years, which was awesome. And then recently in the last year, I took on and started figuring out restaurants because I like the idea of helping a local business owner make it. And not just make it, but thrive in their local area. And quite honestly, I love it when I see one of my clients dominate their local area, and so do they. So if you can position yourself with the right group of people, and they know that you can get results and they can see it. Now, while this is the number one way to get clients, you may not deserve or be able to get this alliance created until you've helped at least a couple of clients succeed using some of the tactics I've been teaching in this course. If you're using Facebook advertising and you're getting 1 or 2 clients to get some lift, that's the best time to call one of these people or to contact them on LinkedIn and say, I'd really like to show you how I help grow restaurants using a few online strategies. And I also know some clients that could use your services as well. Can we meet for coffee? You want to be able to help these guys as well as have them help you. And the way to do that is a couple different ways. Number 1, teach them some things about Facebook advertising to maybe be able to sell their services better. Number 2, you want to be able to use that advertising, you'll be able to use that group as a way to spread your value, okay, by giving them referrals as you find new clients. So if you find new clients, the first thing that should strike your mind is, I've got 3 or 4 other people that you might want to talk to. that I trust, that I'm networked with, that are kind of in my small little group of people that I recommend to clients like you that can also help save you money. I'll help make you money, but they'll help save you money. And I'll refer them. They appreciate that. So you look out for each other. Now, one of the people in my networking group doesn't even want commission. He's like, I just want you to do a great job for my clients because my client will stay with me forever if I know I'm helping my client. But I really like to reward people for bringing me business. And so I'll offer them at least something. And usually it's commission and putting a little money in their pocket. Now, I've been fortunate because in my agency, I've been able to earn a nice income and a nice lifestyle. And I can't take it lightly that a few $100s extra a month per client, per referral, doesn't mean a lot to these referral partners you put in your group. So, keep that in mind, that you may look at it and go, 10%, Joe, it's only $150. Yeah, but if they refer 10 clients to you, they've got a $1,000 check coming. I've got a guy in my networking group that gets over $1,000 in commission from me every single month because of the clients he's recently referred to me. So, don't take that lightly. So that's number one. Number two is LinkedIn. We call it LinkedIn Direct Outreach. This is a term I got from one of my mentors, Sam Ovens. He calls it LinkedIn Direct Outreach. It's a great way to find clients for your agency business as well. Connecting with business owners on LinkedIn, and you do it by being valuable first. So let's say there's a couple different businesses that you're looking to target. And maybe you've found a recent PR and a recent article about this medical weight loss clinic that's opened up in Dallas, Texas, and you're located in Dallas. And you've read a couple of articles about them, and maybe you see that they're fairly new in their opening. And you go to their social media and you see that they haven't really done a whole lot yet. So maybe you write them a small note about a couple things that can really help them. So say, for example, you notice that they don't have, let's say that you notice that their Facebook page is lacking in good design. So maybe say to them, congratulations for opening in Dallas, Texas. I'd like to do something really nice for you, to welcome you into the area and the community as a new medical weight loss clinic. I'd love to have my team design you a Facebook page cover photo and a Facebook page, maybe icon if they need it, to give you guys a jump start on your social media if you'd be willing to let us do that. Or maybe you offer them a free website audit, which we're going to talk a little bit about audits in a minute. Giving value in the way of audits, giving them a social media audit. Maybe you go on their social media and you say, maybe it's a weight loss clinic you saw got recent PR, maybe they've been there for a couple years. Well, and you notice that their social media sucks. You got to be careful because you don't want to say it quite like that, but you also don't want to shy too far away from that. You want to say, if you don't mind me being very candid and very open, I took a look at your social media and I've got 3 or 4 ideas for you. And then give them the ideas. Give them the ideas they can run with. Here's 3 or 4 things you guys could do to improve your social media, and maybe give them some good tips. And you don't have to give them the giveaway or a contest that they should do, because they won't know how to execute on that anyway. Just give them some general tips that they will find valuable. Don't ask for an appointment on that first message. Don't ask for them to take a look at your website or check out what services you offer. That's not giving value first. Maybe you write an article. I'll give you an example. I wrote an article on my restaurant marketing website. We started a website just niche focused for the agency part of our business that focuses on restaurants, called rockfishmarketing.com. And on that website, I wrote a blog post on should you use the Facebook boost post button, which I mentioned in an earlier module. And it's a long blog post educating businesses and owners why they shouldn't boost posts from the front of the newsfeed. Because that's what most business owners are doing. And I want to educate them. And so I'll send that article, that blog post, to business owners that I can kind of tell they're boosting posts. Because if they're getting a lot of likes and shares on some posts but not others, this is how you can just intuitively look at a Facebook page and know whether or not they're using some advertising. If some of the posts are really took off like wildfire, and then other posts have like 4 likes and the next post has like 65 likes and 300 shares. And you're like, okay, they're boosting some of those posts. Chances of them using advertising or doing the advertising in Ad Manager is slim to none, especially local businesses. Local small businesses that are doing a couple million a year, no chance. Okay, these are the ones that'll pay you $1,500 all day long. But they might be boosting posts because they think that's enough. Or they have a Facebook person who's doing some boosting of posts. So I'll send them an article because they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's what we're doing. We're hitting the boost button. And so you're educating them without selling your services. And so I'll use Facebook or LinkedIn to prospect by giving value first. In fact, I don't even really care if they ever call me. They might just think of me when another business says, I need social media. They may be like, hey, there's a guy who sent me a couple articles that are really helpful to my business. You might want to call him because you've given value first. This principle of giving value first, I mean, I know you hear it preached in a lot of different trainings and modules, and I know Ty is one of the first to give value first. He's constantly teaching and training. It is instrumental in getting clients to want to do business with you. When I sit down with a client, prospect, for the first time, even after maybe let's say one of my business alliance partners has referred me into a new restaurant, I will sit down with them and I will kind of teach them on some things they need to change in their Facebook or in their social media. I may show them that, hey, I noticed on Twitter you haven't connected with any PR people on Twitter. I noticed that you're not really following people that are right there in DC that write stories about restaurants or bloggers, or mommy bloggers or whatever it might be. You're not targeting, you can be following them on Twitter. And so if there's anything I can do before I leave here, even if you don't hire me, I want to make sure I give you some really good tips. And they appreciate it and they're overwhelmed, which is why they want to hire you. But I go in there and give value first. I bring them a customer value worksheet. I let them work through that. I'll leave it with them so they can, kind of think through their own strategy a little differently if they don't hire me. I want to leave a mark. I just want to do good for them because they may not hire me, but they may refer me to somebody who will because they had a good experience meeting me. And it goes for LinkedIn as well. A few years ago, I contributed a chapter called The 15 Imperatives of LinkedIn in a book called Social Boom, written by one of the top sales trainers in the world, Jeffrey Gitomer. And he asked me to contribute to his book on just LinkedIn because I personally worked with Jeffrey to help him reevaluate his own social media strategy. We have helped him with his social media since 2011 at different levels. And most specifically, and he actually talks and mentions this and me in a few of his books, including the Sales Bible, we helped him take on LinkedIn to a whole new level. I mean, he literally has tens of thousands, over 20,000 connections now on LinkedIn alone, thousands of followers using LinkedIn. And, but it's about giving value first there, which is what he does. And so don't underestimate how powerful this can be. And if you don't know LinkedIn, find some books and learn LinkedIn because it's a great way to connect with business owners I'll tell you what most people do on LinkedIn. Hi, I'm Joe. Thanks for connecting with me. You got to connect with them first and ask them to connect with you or find an acquaintance. There's different ways and strategies for that. But just connect with them on LinkedIn. And do you have to pay for a premium LinkedIn profile? No. You can connect with people and then you can message them. But when you connect with them, this is what usually happens. I'll say, yes, I'll connect with somebody. And then they'll be like, hi Joe, I'm Tom. And I sell this and I want you to check out this. And here's my link and let me know if I can help you guys. That's what everybody does. You have to instead turn the tables and be like, you know what? I have a question for you, Tom. I noticed that you're in the XYZ industry. Let's say financial services. You're in the financial service industry. Who tends to be your ideal client? Maybe there's some people in my network that I can refer to you, that I can suggest to you that maybe could turn into customers. I don't know, but tell me a little bit about who your ideal customer is. And then they'll tell you. Because they're on LinkedIn to try to get business. So help them get business. So some people go, geez, I'm going on LinkedIn so I can find business. Well, go on LinkedIn and help 5 people find new customers. And I guarantee you they're going to come to you going, how can I find you customers? And they might be the one that becomes the customer for you. But approach it with giving value first. Number 3. Google My Business. If you go to google.com/business, You can learn all about Google My Business. Listings. Search. I am amazed on a daily basis how many local businesses have not claimed their local Google presence. It's amazing how many don't show up on Google Maps well, and they don't show up in a Google listing well, where people are going on reviewing them, no matter what kind of business they are. They're using Google reviews all the time, every day. Maybe not as much as Facebook reviews anymore, but they're still using Google reviews. People still go to Google to search for businesses and local businesses. And if a business doesn't have their Google listing claimed and optimized, okay, for success, they're missing the boat. And there's a lot of them, and those are your prospects, because that's one of the things you could help them with as a foot in the door technique to your other services. You help them with Google Plus, and you help them with their Google listing, and then they're going to need you for other services. So this is the third way that we find clients. Is we go on to Google and we type in site, then it's colon, and then it's Google. And then it's going to be a targeted phrase thereafter, okay? So site, and this, by the way, there's no spaces in here. Site, colon, google.com, and then it's space in quotation marks. I'll put the quotation marks down here. And then you're going to put claim this. Actually, it's claim. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking Yelp for a second here. It's going to be quotation marks manage this page. And then you're going to put, after that, the city and location. So this is how it looks like. Let's go on the next page. I'll write out slow for you. And if you're watching this, you should pause this and go try this directly. So if you're watching this, you can pause it and you can go do it directly. So you type in site, colon, google.com, space, and then claim this it's an S, page, in quotation marks, space, and then say Dallas, Texas, if I'm in Dallas, Texas. And your search result that's going to show up when you type this is going to be businesses in Dallas, Texas, who have not claimed their Google listing page yet. All of them that pop up will become your client. Now, if you're being niche focused, which is what I expect you to do when you're first starting your agency, let's say your focus is restaurants, you would add the word restaurant right before Dallas, Texas. You would add the word bankruptcy attorney if you want to focus on bankruptcy attorneys. You would add the term personal injury attorneys if you want to focus on personal injury attorneys. Just stop the recording right now and just type in, for your own giggles, right? Site, colon, google.com, all one word, space, claim this page in quotations, and then put personal injury attorney, space, Dallas, Texas. Everybody should stop this recording and do that. And your eyes will all pop open. Now, don't all go sell personal injury attorneys in Texas. Do it in your own local area for now. Every personal injury attorney is going to get hammered after this video. But you're going to go online and you're going to see it's a disgusting amount of people who haven't claimed their business listings. And attorneys are as guilty as everyone. They don't even know where to start. They don't even know what to do. And if they know they're not showing up, you know how much money they spend on billboards? How much they spend on radio and television advertising still to this day? I can't believe it when I watch it, right? They're spending thousands of dollars on it, but then they don't even know how to update their Google listing. So that's the third way you're going to find clients. The other thing, instead of manage this page or claim this page, type in, try manage this page, and then here's another one. Is this your business? it also says that in quotations. You'll find profiles that say, is this your business? It's waiting for people to claim it. Okay. And then add location. Here's the fourth way. And this fourth way is a way to find clients that I guarantee nobody is teaching. And I know you're going to make a judgment here. Number 4 is Yelp. Now, most people, well, wait a minute, Joe. Of course, anybody can go on Yelp, and there's ways to find if people have claimed their Yelp listing. That's not what I'm talking about. You see, here's what I look for on Yelp. Here's what I know about Yelp. Is that whether I'm a hair salon or whether I'm a restaurant, Yelp is calling me, if I'm not paying for advertising with Yelp, on a weekly basis and annoying the crap out of me. That's what I know if I'm a business owner. Now, as an agency, I take it one step further. I know that if somebody does pay $375 to $1,500 for Yelp advertising, then they're a prospect for me, right? So if somebody's already paying, think about this. If somebody's already on Yelp and they're giving Yelp, because the minimum fee is $375 a month to be advertising on Yelp, on up to $1,500 a month. If I know they're paying that, does that make them an ideal client for me? Yes, because they're already paying for advertising and they're already paying for it online, and they're already doing it on a medium that is potentially giving them some results, but usually it isn't, or they don't know how to track it. So it's almost every client I talk to who says, "Oh, I'm paying out Yelp," and I say, "Okay, is it working for you?" "We think so." "What do you mean you think so?" I say, "Well, first of all, they list you whether you advertise or not. Is the advertisement listing helping you?" "We think it is." "How do you know?" "We're not sure. They just show us a bunch of fancy graphs. Looks like we're getting a lot of business." But you don't know. You don't have people coming in every day saying, "Hey, I'm here because of Yelp." No. All right, so you could be just, throwing all that money away. Yes. That is no way to operate a small business, let alone any business, right? And so, but here's the secret, okay? And I hope if you're paying attention, you're going to love this. Because what you want to do is you want to find everybody who's paying for Yelp advertising. And the way to do it is like this. Because I know something that a lot of people don't realize is that on Yelp, if you see a Yelp listing and it has a video on it, where it has a carousel of pictures or it says look at their photos, and one of the first things you see is a video. In order for them to have a video on there, they're paying a minimum $375 just to be able to get the video on there. So the way to do it is you type into Google, you go to Google, not Yelp, site, Yelp, and then I wrote down, it's watch this video, right? Watch video. Just watch video. Go to Google and do this right now. Watch video. And then do Dallas, Texas. Let's pick on Dallas again. I don't care where you live. It could be Boise, Idaho, for all I care. And then if you want to be niche focused, type in plus restaurant. You can use the plus sign right in Google. And do it just like that. That should be your Google search. Yelp, watch video, Dallas, Texas restaurant. And you're going to find every restaurant in Yelp that has a Yelp listing with a video in it, which gives you people who are paying for local advertising already. And all you got to be able to do is say, okay, show me your untrackable success on Yelp and compare it to what I could be doing with the Facebook advertising marketing that you're going to be able to deliver and show right on there. Did it work, Alec? Did you search it? Okay, here we go. So what does this tell you about them? It tells you that they're a qualified prospect. That's number 1, right? And you're going to contact them. Here's the kicker. You're going to contact them. You're going to send them a quick email, or you're going to call them. And you're going to tell them that you're calling about their Yelp advertising. Because they'll think you're either from Yelp, right? Or that something's changing or whatever it might be, right? And so I'll call and just leave a message. Hey, I'm calling about your Yelp advertising plan that you have. I'd love to talk with you. Here's my name, here's my number. They call you back, say, "You're calling?" I said, "I'm calling because I have a feeling you're wasting all your freaking money on Yelp advertising," right? Okay, they are. And a lot of them know it, but they're stuck in contracts. And that's something else you want to know about people who are advertising on Yelp, is they lock them in.
Pretend you're like,
okay. So it's simple, but they'll call you back. and most are not getting good results from Yelp. I only know this from talking to dozens and dozens of businesses on a monthly basis, some of which have used Yelp before in the past and canceled, including myself. I've actually been an advertising customer of Yelp for one of my own restaurants, and I've canceled the service. I know the whole process. I know how they tie you up in contracts. I know how they do it. Okay. The fifth way is to conduct and deliver mini audits for getting clients. I call it mini audits because you don't want to take up too much time with this. I actually learned this from doing this on a bigger scale. I walked into Modell Sporting Goods. For those of you who live on the East Coast, you're familiar with Modell Sporting Goods, like 130 plus stores up and down the East Coast. Third to Sports Authority and to Dick's Sporting Goods in terms of national chain and presence. And I walked into the offices of Modell's with their entire team there, including their vice president of advertising, and had a presentation prepared comparing their social media. I mean, every site. I took apart everything. Their Facebook, at the time, Foursquare was really popular. I took apart everything. Who remembers Foursquare? Ty, are you on Foursquare? He's not on Foursquare. I don't know. They're still out there. Maybe. I don't know. Did they? I don't even know. Who knows? I stopped using Foursquare in 2012 or something. But it was 2012. I think I walked in there, 2013. But I looked at everything. And aside from looking at the social media advertising manager who was in the room, who wasn't even on Foursquare or Twitter himself, I basically just tore apart their stuff in comparison to what Dick's was doing. Right? I showed them everything Dick's was doing and Sports Authority was doing that was succeeding in social media and what they were doing that was lagging. That's a mega audit, right? So what I do with small local businesses is, because they know their social media sucks. And you know, some of them don't know because they're paying somebody to do it, but they still think or have a hunch that it sucks. So, and that's really scary. It was really scary when you walk into a business owner's business and you basically tell them, hey, you really need social media help. And they look at you and go, we're already paying somebody for this. Now, I love that because I give them that look like with deer in headlights, like, you are? Like, you need to stop, like today. What do you mean I need to stop? You need to stop paying them. Well, it's my niece and she's in the back. Well, you need to give her a different job. Or I can help your niece out, okay? Because these people that are out there selling social media services that are just posting for the sake of posting or just keeping up Facebook, keeping up Twitter, are wasting small businesses' money. And there's a lot of them. I'm not going to mention company names. I know of a company that is big. They have hundreds of employees doing social media for small businesses around the country. You're going to run into, I guarantee you, no matter what market you're in, you will run into this agency because you'll run into a business owner that is using them. Now, luckily, it's a 30-day out to get out, but you'll run into them. You'll know who it is. But you'll be able to show them in no time. After just a couple different clients, a couple different strategies like what we've taught in Facebook course for these local businesses, you'll be able to show them engagement, likes, email databases grown, and increased sales of clients that will just put any competitor to rest, especially that agency. And they're charging like $600 a month. I walked into this Mexican restaurant who was using this company's services. And I said, I have one question. If you answer it in the positive, I will leave. I said, how many, you pay $600 a month, and I'm $1,500 a month. So I'm going to be double the cost, plus I'm going to ask for an extra $1,000 in budgeting for advertising. I said, how many people on a weekly basis walk in here because of the efforts that they're doing for you in social media? And they said, none that we can think of. I said, how long have you had them? For 6 months now. I said, for 6 months, you can't attribute one new customer. And then they said, well, yeah, but they do answer our reviews, and they positively respond on Yelp for us, and when someone leaves a Facebook review, they say thanks. And I'm like, does that put new people in your... No, reputation management's important. It's actually a piece of our overall services pie that we offer to a restaurant. But if that doesn't put a butt in the seat, how is it helping you? And they agreed, like, you know what, we know something was wrong, we don't know what to do, but we don't know how to do it better. And so it's $600 a month, so it's tolerable. Now, $1,500 is uncomfortable. And, you know, I remember handing him the agreement, and he's holding the agreement. He's like, oh man, $1,500 and another $1,000 in advertising. And I said, listen, there's a reason why we don't do any contracts. He said, what do you mean? I said, because it's month to month because you won't ever stop if you're getting results. And if we're not getting results, why would I want to lock you into a contract that just keeps you not getting better, you know, not getting good results? He says, that makes sense. He goes, I don't even need to read this thing. I'll just sign it and start with you. It was over. Because it really comes down to trust. And I told him that it comes down to trust. You know, you either trust that we can do it or you don't. Now, ideally, you're picking a restaurant or a small business that isn't as financially worried as that type of business. But like I told you before, there might be opportunities, and it's happened to me, where you could take a piece of the business in exchange for your services. And that's if you have a little cash on hand to generate some of that business with your own advertising spend, which is a little bit of your investment, but you might get for long term, having a big piece of a business can be really worth it to you. So these are the 5 methods. And the mini audits, by the way, is really just an outline of like 10 things they could be doing different. You're genuinely helping them with it. You're saying, here's the top 10 things I would fix in your social media immediately. Get a new Twitter cover because it's old. Twitter's changed their design. You need a new Twitter cover. So simple stuff. Start connecting with PR people on Twitter because that's where Twitter's at right now. It's media and it's PR, local PR. And if you're a restaurant, there's still people writing about restaurants that are tweeting about it. You know, hey, I noticed you don't have an Instagram account, and second to Facebook is probably Instagram right now for most small business marketing. And for restaurants, it's definitely big because everyone's Instagramming their food. And by the way, you can run Instagram your food and win. You can do follow us on Instagram and win. We do big giveaways like that. Follow us on Instagram and win. And you know, you get 1,000 followers over on Instagram. If you don't want to collect email addresses, make your giveaway. You know, we're going to give away free breakfast for a year if you follow us on Instagram and win. And you get 1,000 people. You want 1,000 instead of 1,000 emails? You want 1,000 new followers on Instagram? You can do it. You know, tell them this. Give them 10 things in a little audit that says, you know, I noticed you have this on your Facebook page and you don't even have your menu on there in your restaurant. Or I noticed on you don't have your Google listing is unclaimed. And so here's the steps to claim your Google listing. Give them the steps. They won't do it. They won't even be able to figure it out if they tried probably, but you can find the steps. Just type it in. Type it into Google. How to claim your business listing on Google. And it'll give you the steps. Send them that link. Give them some value in your mini audit, and you'll find customers who will come back to you and say, man, what does it cost for you guys to do this stuff for us? You know, you gave me a long list. It's 10 items. You know, we've been paying for somebody, and you know, if they're paying for somebody and you give them an audit list, they don't even want to give it to that company because they feel like they've missed the boat already. Like, I mean, they should have covered this already. Why didn't they catch this stuff? Why are you catching stuff that my own company I'm paying $600 a month isn't catching? And you don't ask for an appointment. You just send them any audit, and you do it through LinkedIn because you've direct outreach to them, or you just email it to them directly. So there you have it. 5 ways. Create a local business alliance. That's number 1. It's the best way. Typically, these alliance members and networking group, they want to see some proven results from you because they want to make sure they can confidently recommend you to their clients. That might mean you have to get your feet wet, get 2 or 3 good clients that you've helped. That doesn't take very long, maybe a month or 2. Really help those clients so you have a base of examples. Because when I first went to coffee with the first person in this group, I sat down with my computer, just like I did with all of you, and I walked them through campaigns I did for a couple different restaurants, and they went, wow, all my restaurant clients need this, and they're starving for it. And I know that most people are full of crap, and I could tell you know what you're doing. And that was all I needed to do to convince them. The payroll processing guy went to one of my clients, the one that gave up a percentage of the business for me to turn it around. And they walked in and asked that business owner, who in the world increased your sales? Because, are you smelling, maybe you're selling crack out of here. And they said, no, you got to meet this guy, Joe Soto. And that's how I met him. So he already had seen the numbers of the growth. That's how I became friends with him and put him in the alliance. And we call it an alliance because that's how we pitch it now to clients. Everybody we meet, we tell them, hey, we've got our own little niche group because we can all trust each other. So you're taking care of the clients. LinkedIn direct outreach, get to know LinkedIn if you're not using it. It's a powerful tool. I made $250,000 in more than that. I bet it's probably closer to $500,000 total. If you really added the trickle effect, the ripple effect, if you will, of a couple contacts I made through LinkedIn in 2014. LinkedIn's powerful. Google My Business listing search to find people who are totally clueless about getting listed on Google. And then go into Yelp, find people. Step 4, people who are already paying for Yelp advertising. They're instant prospects for you because they're already paying for local advertising and they have the money and budget to do it. No restaurant will pay for having a video and having their Yelp advertising there if they don't have a marketing budget set aside. You just need to go in and diagnose that marketing budget a little bit and have them redirect some of that spending over to you. That's going to get them better results on Facebook. And then conduct mini audits to give value first and to show people where they can need help. This is all you need to find clients. If you're busy cold calling clients on the phone, you're doing it wrong and it's going to take you too long. These things will help you land local clients. And if you have any questions, be happy to help. And I'll have a handout here for you to download at the end of this video as well. Thank you.